Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the first live meeting of 2022. It's great to be joined with the town board, our town clerk, Diana Quast, and have our town attorney up here, Adam Rodriguez, and actually have some folks in the audience tonight. So it's just great to see everybody and return to this important function of our town government. If everyone could please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Diana, you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and if you could please bow our heads in a moment of silence as we keep in our thoughts and prayers all of our first responders, our police officers, firefighters, EMTs. If we can also keep in our thoughts and prayers the Samuel family. Dick Samuel, a longtime resident of the town of Yorktown, passed away earlier this week. Dick was a Korean War veteran, very active in St. Patrick's Church, and he was also a Red Cross volunteer. And Dick was featured, and his wife Mary were featured in our 20th anniversary 9/11 video because of their work in the hours and days after 9/11 as Red Cross volunteers. So we keep the Samuel family in our thoughts and prayers, and of course, the bravest men and women the world knows, those brave men and women overseas serving in the armed forces protecting our freedoms tonight. A moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen is right. Very good. Well, it's nice to be able to look out and not stare at a screen. Whew. Let me tell you.
No little boxes.
No little boxes. I'm not looking at the Brady Bunch anymore. It's great.
Hollywood Squares.
I did have a lot more arm room up here, though. I had a lot more elbow room, but this is great. Really, really genuinely enjoy having everyone back here. Introductions, we'll start with our town clerk.
Good evening, Diana Quast, town clerk.
Tom Diana, Deputy Supervisor, Councilman.
Matt Slater, town supervisor.
Ed Lachterman, Councilman.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Adam Rodriguez, town attorney.
Very good. And our highway superintendent sends his best. I'll be providing a quick update on his behalf. Just for my report, we're going to try using the screen. Let's talk COVID real quick.
Look at that.
And you can see up on the screens, both here, new cases is 2. And that is a nice number to see, let me tell you. Active cases down to 182. And if you see here, using the graph that we've continued to track, there was that long winter surge that we saw from the Omicron variant and equally quick and rapid decline down to 182 as of the report that received today, which reflects yesterday's numbers from the Department of Health. As a reminder, the indoor mask mandate for New York State has been lifted, except for very specific areas, including our schools, hospitals, doctors' offices, mass transit, just to name a few. The county executive also lifted the mask mandate, County Executive Latimer, and I appreciate his partnership and leadership during these last 2 years. He's been great to work with. But he also lifted the mask mandate. He did leave it up to the discretion of a few of the specific departments. And we, of course, here in the town are not requiring masks into our facilities, except, again, if a department specifically requests them or if there's a program that requests them. But this is, as the governor called it, a new phase in this COVID pandemic, hopefully the last phase. And I keep looking back on this active case graph because it really helped with the data. And if you look here from where we saw last year, it was a very nice decline all the way through the spring and into the summer. And so if everyone continues to just take precautions, I don't think that anyone's ready to declare victory just yet. Maybe close, but not just yet. But as long as we stay responsible, make smart decisions, hopefully we're going to enjoy a very nice spring and a very fun summer. As a reminder, the Granite Knolls testing site remains in place, so you can go up to Granite Knolls. You can actually, right over here is the link for the testing site. You can go make an appointment online up at Granite Knolls, and you can get tested right there. It's a drive-through, and they get their results back pretty quickly. Also, I do want to thank the Yorktown Police Department for assisting us in the test giveaway. Mr. Strauss, you were there. You came through a few times. Yeah, I know. But thank you to the town board and to the police department for helping us organize that, and thank you to our partners at the Jefferson Valley Mall for allowing us to utilize it. We were able to give out some more free COVID at-home tests. We do have some left over, and so if residents are in need of a free at-home test, they can call the supervisor's office, and we're happy to provide them. There'd be one per household, one box per household, which is 2 tests. Also, as a reminder, you can still order, and the link is right here on our community impact dashboard, right up here, the covidtests.gov. You can order 4 free at-home COVID-19 tests, courtesy of the federal government, and it will be mailed to you within 7 to 12 days. I know many have taken advantage of it, but it is still an option for our residents here in the town of Yorktown as well. Also, just as a point of information, the governor announced today that we have the lowest numbers of COVID-19 in the state since October 25th of last year. So just more proof that we are heading in the right direction. I want to just switch gears to utility rates. Utilities. Getting a lot of calls on those back-breaking utility bills, whether you're Con Ed or NYSEG. And I know we've given a lot of attention to Con Ed the last week. NYSEG's bills also were higher. I do actually just want to acknowledge the fact that NYSEG, when we asked them to provide information, this is on the town's website, rising energy costs, NYSEG shared the following information about rising energy prices. This has been on the town's website now for some weeks. It does cite the commodities. It does cite some of the global economic issues that we're seeing in so many having impacts in so many ways on our daily lives. We did ask the same from Con Ed. We did not get an answer. We asked Con Ed to attend last week's town board meeting. They did not. We asked Con Ed to meet specifically with the Jefferson Village condo presidents last Thursday. They did not provide an answer. But needless to say, we're absolutely keeping the pressure on Con Ed because not only have they seen a just ridiculous increase in utility rates there on people's bills, some seeing a rate 200% higher than they did the previous month. I can tell you that talking with some of the residents and even some of the business owners, but when you hear seniors say that they are living in their bedroom because they're afraid of heating the rest of their apartment,
Or
that's not a quality of life that we want to allow here in the town of Yorktown.
And did you hear the bill was larger than their mortgage?
Yes, and we have those who have bills are larger than their mortgage. We had Mario from A&S show a bill of $6,000 just for the last month. So it's impacting us tremendously. I think what's important to know, I think it's 2 separate issues. So we have the impact that we're seeing of just the inflation across the country and across the world is one issue, and that's having the direct impact on people's energy bills that they're receiving in the mail or have just received in the mail. The second issue is the fact that Con Ed has officially requested another round of rate hikes from the Public Service Commission. Nope, not kidding. It's true. On a letter dated January 28th, 2022, the president of Con Edison requested an 11.2% rate increase for electric customers and an 18.2% increase for gas customers. The town of Yorktown the town board is going to be passing a resolution tonight opposing these rate hikes. The town of Yorktown sent a letter. This is on the town's website. We sent a letter to the PSC Commission formally opposing, but also requesting, as they did in 2019, to hold a public hearing here at our town hall so that the residents of Northern Westchester's voices can be heard. In addition to that, if anyone wants to join us, we just launched this about an hour ago on the town's website. This is a community petition to oppose Con Ed's proposed rate hike. It has the letter that we sent to the Public Service Commission, and you can add your name to the list, and we will send it up to the PSC along with the town board resolution and the many residents, hopefully, who oppose this rate hike as well. Now, the last 3 years, you've seen an increase in Con Ed rates, and I want to make sure I get this right. In 2020, the PSC, the Public Service Commission, which regulates all the utilities in the state of New York, approved a 4.2% increase for electric ratepayers, as well as it's a 3-year plan. So it's 4.2 in 2020, 4.7 in 21, and 4% in 2022. So this is the final year of that 3-year phase-in of those rate hikes. Now that they've reached the final year, they've proposed another round. Gas customers saw a significant increase as well during that 3-year phase-in, a 7.5% increase in 2020, an 8.8% increase in 2021, and a 7.2% increase in 2022. What I found most offensive of the Con Edison request was their reasoning. And their number one reason was because they can't pay their property taxes. And I just find it obnoxious, especially when we have so many residents who are struggling themselves here. No one's increasing their paychecks like they're requesting here from the Con Ed's requesting from the Public Service Commission. So, again, jump onto the town's website, sign the petition. We're also going to be providing sample letters that if people want to print and sign and send up to the Public Service Commission, they're going to be able to. And I know we're going to get that over to Jefferson Village as well, so that our friends over at Jefferson Village can make sure that their voices are heard as well as the rest of the communities. Stop stealing my papers, Ed. Councilman Lachterman stealing my papers over here. Another important issue that I want to talk about is a report on is accessory dwelling units. There's been a lot of news recently on accessory dwelling units. The accessory dwelling unit proposal, there's two issues here. There's been a legislation that's been proposed. The town, I think at our last town board meeting, passed a resolution opposing the accessory dwelling unit legislation that's been proposed. I want to thank Senator Harcum, who's the sponsor of that bill, because Senator Harcum is engaging, at least in a dialogue with supervisors and mayors of Westchester and Putnam. We had a very productive conversation yesterday with him, and we are hopeful that we're going to see some amendments to this legislation. This is a New York City issue, that stems from Hurricane Ida, where tragically a number of individuals lost their lives because they were in basement apartments. And so this is where that legislation is stemming from. The town of Yorktown allows accessory dwelling units. We actually have 177 accessory dwelling units here in our community. I just want to emphasize the fact that this is a bipartisan issue. This is an issue that I'm proud to stand with both Republicans and Democrats on because it inherently takes away home rule and our ability to govern how accessory dwelling units would be allowed and under what conditions they would be allowed. But again, Senator Harcum, I believe, has heard our concerns and is, again, we're very hopeful is going to make amendments to the bill accordingly. In addition to that, though, the governor has included this language in her budget, and that poses a much more significant concern that I think residents need to be aware of. And it's not exactly the same language as the legislation that's been written, but it's very, very close. And so this is something that I think everyone should be aware of. Again, supervisors, mayors, Republican, Democrat, we're standing arm in arm on this because of what it means to local communities. You can't have a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to this. There's just no way that regulations and framework that fits New York City, fits Yorktown, that fits Penn Yan, that fits Buffalo. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. And so, we're fighting very hard to bring this to light, and I just want to make sure that our residents are aware of it. Again, accessory dwelling units meaning you, as of right, would be able to build an apartment to your single-family house, whether it's like your garage or over your garage or in your basement. But again, we do have regulations and laws in place that currently govern that process. The other issue that I want to make everyone aware of in the town of Yorktown that was proposed by the governor is this idea of this transit-oriented development. Transit-oriented development, the way that it's written, and I have the language right here. Again, proposed as part of the budget, and I'm just going to read one. So, where was it? So all cities shall permit the construction and occupation of dwelling units with a density of at least 25 dwelling units per acre on any land wherein residential construction and occupation is otherwise permitted. So basically anywhere you can put anything that's zoned residential, and if you're within a certain radius, as of right, on a 1 acre piece of property, you can build a 25-unit apartment complex. Now, at first, we didn't think this applied to the town of Yorktown. This is one of the few times I was thankful we didn't have a train station. But once we got our hands on the actual legislation, bus stops and stations with designated parking for riders located between 1/2 mile and 60 miles from the nearest border of a city with a population greater than 1 million, which is only one, which is New York City. And so they're specifically meaning the Bronx. So we fall within the radius. It would apply to us. I did have our planning department pull this together today, and I just think it's important for everyone to see. So basically, the pink circles, this is the town of Yorktown. The pink circles are the areas that we believe, at least conceptually right now, are the areas where any 1 acre residential lot would be allowed as of right to build a 25-unit apartment complex. And so I think it's an important thing that the town understands, that our residents understand, that the town board understands. It's posing very, very similar concerns from, again, Republicans, Democrats, mayors, supervisors. This is a bipartisan concern, again, because it would be an as-of-right. And, you know, if you think about it, if people start buying up 1 acre lots, then you very quickly have 25 to 50 to 75 apartment unit complexes by right that would be able to be built in those pink areas. The yellow areas we're not entirely sure of. We're getting clarification on. But the pink areas we believe for sure, especially like down here, this is down on this. This is actually down by Heights. These 1 acre lots, in our interpretation, would be allowed to have a 25-unit apartment complex built on them. So those are some of the proposals that are coming down from the state government, and important for us to be aware of it. If any questions, by all means, feel free to contact our state legislators
Can I add something?
or the governor's office. Excuse me?
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
It's not just the single acre lots. I mean, you can combine.
Yeah, you can combine. You can cobble together, 2 half acres, and there's your single acre, and you get 25 units on there. So another thing just to be aware of. Just a couple more things to talk about. I want to thank our building department. There was some blight over at the Roma building. The Sue and High awning had started to fall apart. Thankfully, we contacted or we reached out to John Landy over the weekend. They got in touch with the owners of the Roma building, and that's been rectified. And I want to thank John Landy and the building department staff for making that happen quickly. Councilman Diana is going to have some exciting news as well about tackling some blight on the north side of town, so I'm not going to steal his fire there. We do have some job openings here in the town of Yorktown for anyone interested. The building department's looking for a fire inspector. So anyone with that type of experience, you can contact our HR director, Margaret Kaspering. Also, our Parks and Recreation department has announced our summer seasonal jobs are going to be open. We're looking for camp counselors, aquatic staff, lifeguards, and so all that information can be found on the town's website. You can mark your calendars for Friday, February 25th will be our next e-waste, textile, and tire drop-off day over by the Yorktown Police Department. That's handled by our refuse and recycling staff. I also want to let the folks know, and Mr. Kopstein, I think, would be particularly interested in the fact that we've completed the Sultana Pool RFP, so that will be going out, we believe, this week. And that's something that the previous board had discussed and tried to tackle. And that, again, the Sultana Pool issue has been kicking around for quite some time. Hopefully we can find a solution that's amenable for the community. But that RFP will be going out this week. I also want to remind residents that town buildings will be closed Monday, February 21st for President's Day. And last but not least, for those who don't know, Yorktown is home to a lot of very special things, including Westchester's only commercial producer of maple syrup, and that would be over at White Oak Farm. And Maple Syrup Weekend is coming back to the town of Yorktown. It's an exciting time to go outside and learn how to tap a tree. There's actually backyard sugaring workshops that are happening this weekend, the 19th, from 9 a.m. to noon at White Oak Farm. And then Maple Weekend is going, it's actually 2 weekends. It's the 19th and 20th and the 26th and 27th. And if that gets you excited, then make sure you make your reservation for the Maple Weekend Pancake Breakfast at the Yorktown Grange. Again, the 19th and 20th and the 26th and 27th. Seatings are at 9 a.m. and 10:30. Again, White Oak Farm, not only the only commercial producer of maple syrup in the town of Yorktown, but the most southern commercial producer of maple syrup in the entire state of New York. So it's a real gem here in the town of Yorktown. Bryhart does a great job, and it's something that we should definitely be celebrating. And that concludes my report to the town. I'm going to hand it over to Councilman Diana.
Thank you, Supervisor. I have one announcement. Today actually started the filming by Universal Television of FBI Most Wanted in the southern end of Yorktown off of Pines Bridge Road. They're going to continue to film off Kitchewan Road tomorrow. So it's going to be from the hours of 7 to 10 p.m. And tomorrow was from 8 to 12 a.m. Do not be afraid if you see people walking around with FBI and SWAT uniforms down there. Okay, they are actors. We hope. Otherwise, our police department will let us know if there's any other activity down in that area. That's right. Now, for the north side of town, something that we've all been waiting for. We have condemned the Tire Center in the Acme Shopping Center. All right. The notice has been put up, and the proceedings will go from there. So it's done, folks. At least it's the beginning of the end. Let's put it that way. I know Ed's going to have some things on the breakfast that went on over at the Legion over the weekend, and that's about all I have for right now.
Thanks for putting me on the spot, Tommy.
I knew it.
Councilman Lachterman.
All right. Well, I'll start with a shout-out to Sergeant Kolkman, Detective Beyer, and Officer Schmeller. This past, actually, it was really at the end of January. We had an 11-year-old boy who decided he wanted to try to walk home from school and got lost. They were able to track him down quickly, which was great, especially due to the cold weather that we were having at that time. So really a great job by our PD working to help assist, and even to make sure not only he got home, but he had dropped his belongings, being scared, and they made sure everything got back home. So great job by our PD, as we have a rep in the back today. Sons of the American Legion usually hold their breakfast fundraiser the third Sunday of every month. This month, though, we held it the second, as I had announced at a previous meeting, so there is no breakfast this coming Sunday. We did it because of Valentine's Day and wanted to do a little special with our chocolate strawberry pancakes. It snowed on us, but it was still a successful breakfast. Mm-hmm. Some people braved their way out to come in and enjoy it. We've been told it's the best breakfast in town you can get for $10, so keep it in mind. We usually have 2 types of eggs, 2 types of pancakes. We have bacon sausage, corned beef hash browns, and this week we also did some sausage gravy and biscuits. So, yeah, and of course your coffee and juice and tea and all that. Next month, we're not doing a breakfast. We do a corned beef and cabbage fundraiser. Last year, we did it as a pick-up and take-home type of dinner, and we will do the same this coming month. And then in April, due to the holidays, we will most likely be pushing our breakfast to the 4th week because Easter is a 3rd week, and that falls in the middle of Passover as well. And then we will try to do it on the 4th, which I think I have that somewhere here. No, I didn't write the date. And Michael Grace just actually flashed across my computer that he wanted to let everyone know that we have the best burnt pancakes in town. Since I burnt pancakes once, and he never lets it.
Once a month, Ed burns the pancakes. Okay.
Right.
It's March 13th.
March 13th is the St. Patty's Day, but I don't know what time what date the 4th. I think it's the 25th. It might be April 24th. I should know it because the 26th is my anniversary, and I'll be sitting here for my 30th wedding anniversary. Yeah, Carol put up with me for that long. I know what you're all thinking. The American Legion is also running their Honor Fields and Military Tribute Banner program for 2022. And for all of this, you could find more information on SAL1009ny.org. That's SAL1009NewYork.org or ny.org for more information on all of these events. This Wednesday on the 16th, tomorrow night, is a Veterans Advisory Committee at 7 p.m. at the Veterans of Foreign War Hall, and that's at 257 Veterans Road. And then this Friday on the 18th, the Senior Advisory Meeting at the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center, or the...
No, it's
Oh,
here.
it's here.
It's going to be here.
Thank you. I'm glad I found that out. I'd be on the wrong spot. Right here at Town Hall in the room will be our senior advisory meeting, and then also keep posted. We are reviving the Holocaust Remembrance event that we started under former Supervisor Grace, who I now realize is standing in the back. I thought you were listening on TV. Hello, Michael. And with that, we will be we're looking to hopefully have a survivor live, but we are looking into some alternative methods in case we have to have someone come in on screen and utilize some of the TVs, but we will still do the ceremony live. And we are also trying to do something with a concentration camp liberator from the U.S. Army who is still around, and try to do a presentation, but a tribute to the military in general. So look for some more details on that. And I believe that covers about everything on my list.
I'll tell you, folks, from the first time I came to one of those Holocaust remembrance ceremonies, kudos to Ed for putting them on. Really, he does a wonderful job. And the speakers have you from hello. Yeah. You can read all about it, you can see it on TV, but not until you actually hear it from the mouths of the survivors, and they show you the tattoos, etc., that it really, really opens your eyes to the atrocities that happened in that time. But Ed, kudos, and I hope we can have somebody here in person. I would understand why they couldn't make it, though.
Yeah, there is one woman whose story is very compelling. She did move out of the area. She's in Rhode Island now, in Providence area. But her story literally changed the life of. I used to work with at-risk youth, and literally changed the life of one of these young ladies. Yeah. And I was able to see the change in her whole behavior after hearing this story, and realizing that, no matter how bad you think things are, there are people that have suffered much worse. And this woman, Dr. Margulies, her family, everyone in their village was exterminated. Her family lived 10 feet underground in a ditch or a bunker, if you want to call it that, under a chicken coop on a farm in Poland. for, I want to say it was 10 months.
Wow.
With no room to move. It was just a very, very compelling story. And I'm actually hazy on some of it because of the shock, literally hearing it and seeing her. But she unfortunately can't get out and about as much. But, if we could get her remotely, you just really life-altering when you realize what people went through.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Councilman, and thank you for your leadership on that. Looking forward to that very moving ceremony.
Yeah.
We'll go over to Councilman Sergio Esposito.
Yeah, so you really knock it out of the park with that. So, it's a great thing, and I'm glad you're reviving it. But I wanted to go back to the corned beef and cabbage comment that you made. Is there any way it comes with, some marinara sauce and, some Italian bread on the side? Or
Yeah,
can we put that in?
We do have a corned beef bolognese with a nice homemade linguine.
Oh, yeah, it sounds fantastic. So, thank you, everybody. I want to welcome everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate being here. I'm very excited to be here. Unfortunately, we were unable to have an inauguration on January 1st. So, we didn't want to make it go too much longer. And I'm proud to announce on February 27th at the Albert A. Cappellini Community Cultural Center. Did I get that right? The AAACCCCC?
Right.
We will be having...
Sixth grade school for you old Yorktowners.
Yeah.
I call it.
So we will be having our inauguration there. Everybody is invited. We have all the elected candidates. They are elected officials now. They are available, and they've all confirmed. So it's going to be nice. We're looking at probably around noon, but look out for the official announcement. And so we're excited to do that. As your small business advocate, I would like to announce that if anybody ever needs anything out there, they need some support, a shout out, they need us to come and help grow their business, I'm always available. The town board is committed to your needs and your success. So feel free to just give me a call. On that note, we've had two grand openings this past month. We had Direct Physical Therapy, which was this past weekend. They're located in Solaris, and this is their second location. So it was a really nice ceremony that we did for them. We did a ribbon cutting, and they're excited to be here. We're excited to have them. And we had a really nice ceremony for Game Day Grill, which is as for the old timers, right, Tommy? It's the old Coach Light, or the pub, or it's had several names over the past years. But it's completely redone, and they completely redid the menu. They upgraded the food. So it's a really nice place to go there and grab a quick bite, or even bring your family now. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. On March 11th, our friend Jim Radsmith is having his gala, the United for the Troops. And I'm honored because he asked me to help him MC it. So March 11th, they got 300 tickets. And so if you can, support them. It's such a wonderful organization. Matter of fact, I could probably talk more about what a great organization it is. As far as technology goes, I want to have the town try to take advantage of my technology background. As most people know, what I really do is I'm an IT guy. I'm a senior analyst. I own my own company. I've been in business for about 25 years. And so I've already started having conversations. There's already been some plans in the works to upgrade some of our systems and our back-end systems. And I want to I've already been asked to assist in that, and I'm honored to help. But I also want to venture into other areas, like our phone system is very antiquated and things of that nature. So I'll be looking to upgrade and advance our technology in town, maybe bring something that our supervisor has spoken about several times over the past couple of years to get more information more readily available to all our citizens. And he's done a fantastic job at that already. As you know, the website's been upgraded and communication is critical. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here. And just one last note on the utility companies. They're tone deaf. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And finally, Councilwoman Luciana Howard.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Good evening. I'm really excited to be here. This is our first live board meeting. I echo what my entire board here says, and I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, and more importantly, look out for your local Girl Scouts because they started selling their cookies, and we want to definitely support them.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Actually, a shout out to the Girl Scouts because they did come and give cookies to the veterans at the breakfast this past Sunday for
Yeah,
Veterans Day.
it's a really great organization, and I think we do a great part in our chapter here in Yorktown. We have a lot of really active moms.
Yep.
Then I'm sorry. Belated Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Too late.
I just really wanted to quickly dovetail off of what you were saying, Sergio, if I could. This is on United for the Troops.
There it goes.
So this is a photo of
Ames class.
Mrs. Ames' class, my son Charlie, and for the last 2 years, as part of Operation Cupid, the Brookside Elementary School does an amazing job collecting donations, making cards for the troops, and so they did that for Operation Cupid through United for the Troops, and these are the troops who got their care packages from the kids, and they got this actually on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Cool.
it's wonderful.
And it was a really, really cool thing to see. They sent a great message to the kids and to the community. They were just so grateful. They're out in the Middle East, and we pray for their safety and for their safe return home. But that's what United for the Troops does. And Kevin Burns is here. He's very involved with them as well. They are just an incredible organization that does this year-round. And, you know, for these men and women to receive these types of care packages with so much love, literally inside the box, with their cards, with their notes, and then they get all these other, you know, essentials that they really can't get over there. It just gives them a little piece of home, and just, you know, some joy when they open that box, and the message that we receive, and the you know, positive response that the troops send back to United for the Troops and Jim Rathschmidt is just incredible. And this is one of them. This is actually the guy holding the photo, the letter from United for the Troops right here is my buddy Chris. And like I said, he got deployed a couple weeks right before the holidays, and I told him that we wanted to do this for him, and so we were able to organize this whole thing, and he just couldn't say enough how thankful they were and how much it meant to them, knowing that people were here thinking about them, and so it really goes a long way. And United for the Troops, they've done this. They've delivered over 26,000 boxes like this to men and women serving overseas. They're incredible.
And it started from humble beginnings because Jim tells the story. He said he started sending his son, who was deployed, care packages. Right. You know, all parents do. You send them, you know, whatever they want, cookies or shaving
so
cream,
you
or so you'd think they would. But he said, look, his son wrote home or called home and said, look, I love you guys. It's great that you do this for me, but could you send it to the rest of the unit? Yeah. That's how it got started.
That's great.
And even if you can't make the gala, you know, everything, you know, takes money. So if even a small donation, you know, a lot of small donations end up being, you know, a nice piece of change that they could do more for our troops. So if you can't make it, please donate.
Yeah. Well, one thing, you know, so they started the first year with 200 boxes. They thought they did their thing. Now we're 13 years later with over 26,000.
Amazing. Thank you, Jim.
It's a 100%.
And Patty, yeah.
Especially
Let's not
Patty.
forget
Especially
his wife.
Patty.
And thank you, Luke, for suggesting it. Luke is Jim's son, who was 82nd Airborne. And just so you know, it's 100% volunteer.
Right.
No one gets paid. They work out of their house and also out of the old post office in Putnam, which was donated for them to use. Wow. So they don't spend money on anything except the postage to send things overseas because they need to send it to specific people because, as you know, the government, if you give it to them, they will send it to the people who need it the least.
Yeah.
So they want this to go to the people who need it the most. We have a donation box for supplies right out front in the lobby, and you can actually look up on uft.org and find the unitedforthetroops.org and find a list of supplies that they look for.
It's also on the town's website.
It's on the town's website too. There you go. You guys are pretty good.
It's all about the website.
So it's an amazing operation. They do some great things, and the gala is one of their big fundraisers to help raise money for the packages to send overseas. So, look them up, read about it. But as someone who does a lot of community work, I love the organizations that are volunteer. And we have quite a few of them in town. You don't want to be, I don't like to give my money to pay a salary. I'd rather give my money to make sure something happens and give my time for that. And UFT, checks all the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're going to go on with our agenda. Our highway superintendent's not here. He sends his regards. Just a quick update from him. We are working with DOT to deal with some of the potholes. It is pothole season. If there is a pothole on a local road, please feel free to call the highway department to report it. That's 914-962-5781. Again, 914-962-5781. We did hear from DOT. They are hoping to get 202 done this week. They got about 90% of Route 6 done last week. But again, we can't help advocate for fixes, especially on state roads, if we don't know about it. So as much as we do our best to be out there, just like the PD, as the chief always says, help us help you. And do me a favor, call over to the highway department. And if you do see a pothole or there's a persistent pothole, please make sure you report it so that we can get it filled appropriately. And with that, we're going to invite our poet laureate up, John McMullen. John?
John, do you know your way to the podium?
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
I have an update, by the way.
Okay.
On Con Edison. I heard from them last night. My electricity was down from 8 to 8:30 last night, and again at 11 o'clock. Apparently all of the Jefferson Valley Hill. So
Yeah.
Our last meeting, I read the sports poem, and since pitchers and catchers were supposed to start this Tuesday and will not, I'll read another one. Baseball and life, with gratitude to George Carlin for inspiration. For 50 years of my life, basketball was a passion. I played wherever and whenever I could find a game. But baseball is the national pastime, and rightly so. What of other major sports are ruled by clocks? When the clock says the game is over, it is. But baseball is played until the game says it's over. It is scheduled for 9 innings, and an inning is for as long as teams are up without being out 3 times. But if the home team is ahead, it only goes 8.5 innings. But if tied after 9, the game goes on until someone wins. The longest game was 26 innings. Our lives are not on a clock. There's at least when we can see, they are played till they're over. In some cases, they are shortened by accident or illness. Just a game is over by rain. We do know if and when we get into our late innings, but we don't know when our own game will be over. We can only hope it was a good game, and maybe like Bobby Thompson's home run, Don Lawson's perfect game, Mookie Wilson's ground ball, it would have been memorable. It's obvious that a New Yorker wrote this poem.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So we have a proclamation, really, a resolution opposing the Con Edison requested rate hike. Happy to read it as follows. Whereas on January 28th, 2022, Matthew Keschke, president of Con Edison, sent a request to the Public Service Commission for an 11.2 rate increase for electric customers and an 18.2% increase for gas customers. And whereas in 2020, the New York State Public Service Commission approved rate hikes of 4.2%, 4.7% in 2021, and 4% beginning in January of 2022 for electric customers. And whereas in 2020, the New York State Public Service Commission approved rate hikes of 7.5% in 2020, 8.8% in 2021, and 7.2% in 2022 for gas customers. Whereas the current economic conditions, including record inflation across the country, is having a direct impact on the daily lives of residents. And whereas Con Edison customers received exorbitant bills this month, jeopardizing the viability of small businesses and forcing intense strain on local seniors and families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Yorktown Town Board opposes the proposed rate increases for Con Edison electric and gas customers, and be it further resolved that the Yorktown Town Board requests the Public Service Commission holds a public hearing on the proposed rate hikes at the Yorktown Town Hall, just as it did in 2019 for the proposed NYSEG rate hikes, And be it further resolved that the Yorktown Town Board call upon the Public Service Commission to administratively implement the provisions of A3888, also S4628, to ensure greater transparency and communication to local ratepayers. Those are pieces of legislation introduced in the Assembly and the Senate. And be it further resolved that the Yorktown Town Board requests the Special Counsel for Ratepayer Protection investigate the recent backbreaking utility bills, which in some cases grew by more than 200%. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, we will go to courtesy of the floor. As a reminder, you don't have to wait to courtesy of the floor to raise any issues. You can always contact us here at Town Hall. 914-962-5722, extension 200 is my direct line. You can also email me at mslater@yorktownny.org. You can also visit the yorktownny.org website to get any contact information for any of the board members here or our department heads. Courtesy of the floor will be 3 minutes. Our town clerk will have the timer. We ask that the comments remain focused and respectful to all.
Good evening, Jay Kopstein.
Good evening, Mr. Kopstein. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're
Good.
Good to see you in person.
Absolutely.
You as well.
I in no way can see justification for the Con Ed rate hike that they have requested. This is similar to our opposition to the NYSEG requested rate hike. However, it must be noted that electric utilities do not generate electricity, and they have not done so since deregulation years ago. The utilities purchase electricity and gas on the open market. They estimate annual need and purchase the electricity and natural gas on an annual contractual basis. Requirements above the estimated need are purchased on the spot market. The electricity generating companies have to pay for the fuel they need to burn to make electricity. They too enter into annual contracts for estimated need, and then if more fuel is needed, it's purchased on the open market. For electricity, the process is open. All you have to do is to go onto the New York ISO website and view the costs that are paid by the generating companies and the charges to the electric utilities. Those who use an ESCO pay varying costs that are based on the same parameters. Those of us who joined Sustainable Westchester are seeing a lesser bump since the sun does not charge. Thank you, Supervisor Slater, since the town partakes in Sustainable Westchester. How many people here cheered when Governor Cuomo orchestrated the closing of Indian Point? Well, those chickens have come home to roost. Mm-hmm. How many people here cheered when Governor Cuomo prevented new natural gas pipelines and outlawed fracking? Well, we are now reaping what was sown. How many people believe the Albany politicians when they said that the Indian Point electricity would be easily replaced at minimal cost? Well, that hasn't happened. Last year, many years ago, for one monthly utility bills, the utilities broke out and listed separately the property, business, and other taxes that they have paid to the various governmental entities. The percentage of the total was so significant that the politicians implored the PSC to cajole the utilities into not repeating that practice. Unfortunately, sometimes you get exactly what you asked for. Supervisor Slater, it might be beneficial for the town to host an educational class on ESCOs and Sustainable Westchester. On another note, at 7:30 this evening, I looked up on the ISO site. New York State was utilizing 21,840 megawatts of electricity. 16,886 was generated in state. Almost 5,000 was gotten from outside the state. Indian Point would have generated 13% of that total. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Kopstein.
you.
Next.
Hi. good evening. How
Good
are you?
evening.
I'm here with good news.
Yay! Can you,
Yeah,
even though we
I
know
know.
you, could you state your name for us,
I'm
please?
Heidi, and I'm representing Grace Lutheran Church, and I'm here to say thank you. Thank you to everyone for their help in gathering. We collected 645 boxes of
That's awesome.
cereal
Amazing.
during our Super Bowl of cereal. With your help, and the library also had a bin.
Yep.
645. But I do want you to understand, those 645, although we're all applauding, and I am also, it will only last a month or less. And that's for one food pantry. We have 4.
Yep.
So we have to keep the battle going, this fight against hunger and this food insecurity. We have so much but give so little. So we're going to come up with something maybe every 2 months.
Yeah.
That's in the works. We have that on the side. I'll come back another time to discuss what we've planned. So again, thank you so much. And although it was a lot of work, it was fun and very, very satisfying. So thank you for your help. I
Absolutely
appreciate
worth
it.
it.
We
Thank
appreciate
you guys
it.
for doing
Thank you,
that.
Good job. Thank you, Heidi. Anyone else for courtesy of the floor? Mr. Moskowitz.
Hello, Paul Moskowitz. I'm speaking for myself and my Huntersville area neighbors.
Okay.
Recently, we read in the newspapers about police raids all over Westchester County to seize allegedly illegal weapons. We were surprised and shocked to find out that some of these were in the town of Yorktown. So we are just here. I'm representing my neighbors to say thank you to the Yorktown Police Department for the work they do to keep us safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moskowitz.
Dan Strauss, 55-year resident. I'm going to address everyone. Ms. Howitt,
Nice.
Mr. Esposito, Mr. Lachterman, Mr. Slater, and
got
Mr.
it right?
Diana. I got it all right. Okay.
If you could
So-
teach Matt how to
Dan.
pronounce my last name, I'd appreciate that.
I just wanted to thank Robin Steinberg for moving an email that I'm going to read over to the planning board last night, and thank Mr. Fawn for reading it. So I'm going to read it again. I find it unconscionable that the town of Yorktown, a tree city for 10 years, will allow thousands of trees to be cut down to benefit landowners who want to install large-scale in-ground solar farms in residential neighborhoods. All this has become is a toss-up between housing and solar farms, and the trees and the environment be damned. I don't believe for 1 minute that more trees will come down for residential development, and Yorktown needs more new single-family homes and townhouses so more people with money can move here. Just bear with me 1 second. Now I lost the lost my. Here we go. You can put tons of solar on parking lots, canopies, rooftops, and in commercial zones. You can't do the same for houses or homes. You say you can only follow the law. You say you want to get it right. I say you can stop this attack on the very fabric of Yorktown if you want, and get it right. I'm going to add to that. Trees have a function. This seems to be disregarded. That function influences the environment, and it influences the environment for generations to come. If you take down 1,500 trees in one spot, that's going to have an impact for many, many years. Generations. I won't be around unless I achieve immortality, which I'm working on. Because my daughter says I can't die.
Oh, I love that.
So, I'm also going to mention that all the mitigation in the world is not going to alleviate that problem because you can put $500,000 in the tree fund, and that's not going to replace the trees that you're taking out. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss.
Thanks, Dan.
Next.
Good evening, Susan Siegel. It's nice to be back. I just want to follow up what Dan said and to remind everybody, I don't have to remind the town board, you know, but I'm reminding the audience who's listening to this, that at the next town board meeting, next Tuesday, there'll be a public hearing on changes to the solar law. And while in general I support those changes, I have spoken out about the need to do more to protect trees and the functions of trees that I think should be added to that law, and I will be speaking more about that at the public hearing. But I urge everyone now, that, especially now that we're back live, and I hope we'll still be back live next week, no changes, that if they are concerned about the environment, if they're concerned about trees, if they're concerned about what happens to their neighborhood, if they're concerned about having industrial uses in their residential neighborhoods, please come to the hearing next week. And if you can't come and speak at the hearing, please notify the town board, send them emails. Their email addresses are all on the website, and express your concern. Thank you. And you can still support solar, which we have to support solar, but we also have to protect our trees and woodlands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Siegel.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor? Kevin?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Kev.
Kevin Burns, 20-year Yorktown resident. Welcome back, and congratulations, Sergio and Luciana. Glad to see you here.
Thank you.
You touched on just about everything with United for the Troops. I just wanted to add a couple more things. It costs us about $15 a box to send it overseas. And if you can't make it to the gala event, which is really a good time, Matt, you were there last time. We had a really nice time. If you can't make it to the event, you can donate directly online, and it's unitedforthetroops.org. So $15 a box helps us to help our troops. I know you said you have the bins here, which is great for all the donations, but one thing I can't stress enough is every time we've heard back from the troops, they love everything you send them, but most importantly are the cards from the kids. Yeah. They love it. And this is what, letter after letter for the last 13 years we've been seeing. They can't stress it enough. They hang it up in their barracks. They just love it.
That's awesome.
So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much, and welcome back.
Thanks, Kevin.
And thank you for all the hard work you do.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor? Anybody else? Courtesy of the floor? Make a motion.
Motion to close, courtesy of the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Comments from the board?
Yeah, well, Kevin, I was at the gala too, just for the record. But no,
God, he had to come out with that, right?
I just
you
have
know,
to
he
bust
just
his
couldn't
chops.
go.
He's just, he's just bitter that he's
so
not MC.
anyway,
Oh
Kevin,
my God!
and I'll be there this year too. But actually, one of the great things, and Kevin, thank you for bringing it up, because you spoke about the cards, and you could, some of the videos. Actually, if you pick up some of the cards when you're helping pack, it's unbelievable. But one of the things they also started doing a few years back was putting soil packets into the boxes. Yeah. And Jim had gotten a letter back from someone saying, "Hey, we saw this, and we were like, what the heck are we going to do with soil?" And then as a group, they decided that they would carry the packets of soils, and God forbid if anyone was wounded and terminally, about to die, they would take the soil and spread it out under them so they would die on American soil. Yeah. And it, just like, wow. And they said, fortunately, they never had to do it. But they felt a sense of relief in having that for them. So, you just when you think of some of the things that have developed over the years with UFT. Yeah. There's one woman, and Kevin helped me with her name, who seals every box with a kiss. Yeah. And she literally Maddie, thank you. Puts on her lipstick, kisses the inside of every flap, so when they open up, and she writes a little message. It's just
really cool.
There's just so much great things.
I think they're donating lipstick now to her. By the way,
are they?
Yeah, she got.
Yeah,
so many
26,000 boxes.
26,000 boxes. I mean,
so many great things.
Yeah.
Mr. Moskowitz, thank you for recognizing. Mr. Moskowitz, thank you for recognizing the police as well. That was actually it was a. Thank you. Actually, that was a huge multi-jurisdictional raid. It was drugs, it was guns, a few different things there. It was a very, very dangerous raid, and our police did a phenomenal job with that. Ms. Siegel reminded everyone that you could call and express or email and express your concerns. We do also take emails if you want to express your support as well. Just for that. And Heidi, one thing I noticed after Carol and I came by with the cereal, and I'll say this, and it's something I'm going to do from now on. I noticed like ShopRite had a sale, 4 boxes for $5, and you know what? You're in ShopRite. If you can spend an extra $5, or any of the stores that do it, you see the cereals on sale. I highly recommend picking them up, dropping them off at one of the food banks, and we're going to make a habit of looking for that all the time when we go into the stores.
Yep.
We'll check the expiration. That's for sure.
The comments?
Yeah, but these were all name brands, Carol's like the queen of checking expiration dates.
So am I.
And I'm the one who's like, it doesn't really matter in this. Give it to me and I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Other comments from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Copstein, I agree with you 100%. I mean, the insanity that's going on with inflation, the cost of living has increased dramatically. It's affecting all our small businesses. We had Mario from A&S, as the supervisor said, he had a $6,500, $6,300 bill.
$3,000.
It went up 100%.
Yeah.
It went up. It doubled.
Yeah.
All right. It was his last month. It was $3,000, and you know what? That cost gets passed on to the consumer. So we're paying, higher prices on oil, higher prices on everything, and it started by shutting everything down, and it really hasn't helped, and I think it's made our adversaries stronger.
One of our Jefferson Valley advocates is here. How much did your electric bill? 200% from?
From 500 to 700. And we're all electric.
Well, that's because they have electric heat too, and that's everything. And that's when when we were up at Jefferson Village, Councilman, we heard from their neighbors who were saying, I live in a 3-room apartment.
And everything's run by electric.
Everything's run by electric, but I'm not turning on the heat because I'm afraid of the bill because I can't pay it.
Right.
And then if they have an exorbitant bill, now they're making choices between medications and keeping the electricity on, or food and the electricity, or they're making significant decisions that are. I just think it's just the quality of life is just spiraling out of control.
None of them are good
in this instance. Yeah. So, but that's why I appreciate Jefferson Village getting in touch with us and letting us know. And then hearing from so many small businesses as well. I didn't mean to jump in front.
No, that's fine. The one lady I spoke to there, she showed me her bill. It was $1,200 for 1 month. $1,200. She lived in a single bedroom apartment, for lack of a better word. And she shared with me that she only made $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Okay, and still had to pay her car, she had to pay her food, had to pay her medical, had to pay her mortgage.
Yep.
How do you do that with all that left over?
Right.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And it's not the only place we're seeing it.
No, and I had spoken to the mayor of Buchanan that morning, and she told me that not only was the plant supposed to be brought down in sections over the next 3 years, which would have given them time to improve the infrastructure, to outsource, etc., however they were going to do it. No, we had to have the pat on the back up in Albany, okay? That's where it comes from. Elections have consequences. And, to see this poor lady who was basically in tears because she didn't know what to pay first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And on the other hand, with my conversation from with the mayor from Buchanan. She said that to pick up the slack of what Indian Point, I say Con Edison, but Indian Point was putting out, they had to fire up 2 natural gas generating plants. So,
way beyond in Dover, right?
yeah, and it's crazy. We would have had another couple of years that they could have figured this all out, maybe. But because of political gain, we all suffer.
Yeah, I just want to comment to that because I was actually standing behind Tommy when he was talking to this woman, and the amount of fear that was
exactly
there,
it
and it just, it really was something I want to address because I don't want us to have fear in the rest of our lives. That's not how it's supposed to be, especially when you're at your senior life where you're supposed to be. I mean, this is money you would give to your grandchildren or to leave to your families or just keep so that you can do that one dream that you were waiting to do at retirement. But I saw Tommy holding on and like trying to console this woman, but I could feel that because it's such a shock for us to even see some of the bills that we had to also not show in our face how scary it really was because it's not going to stop here. It didn't start here and it's not going to stop here. Right. And I think that's the message we're trying to get through. It's like, it's just not.
Right.
And we can only advocate, right? That's
well, we can advocate.
Only advocate.
Basically.
But I just want to, we see you. I just want to let you know that this board sees this community. And it was definitely something in my heart where I could feel how much fear there was.
By the same token, I will almost promise you at least 500.
Let's. No comments from the audience. Thank you. If you could, one of the things we can advocate, but we can also do things. So next week we're going to have Sustainable Westchester in at our work session. We're going to be discussing the Westchester Power Program. The Westchester Power Program is something that you can see on the screen right now. You can see the blue being the rates, the yellow and the red being the standard and the renewable rates. So you can see that big blue line going up is what we're dealing with right now, and you can see that the rates, it's basically a price fix. And they came in once before. They came in about 18 months ago, I want to say, and they gave a quick presentation on this. But I think this is something that we really need to consider and something that I think would be beneficial to our residents. This is a consortium of other municipalities. It's not just for Con Ed, because I know I've heard from a lot of NYSEG folks. By the way, this is the Con Ed commercial side. So for people like Mario and A&S, this is what it would mean for them. And again, you can see this is where we are right now. This 16.55 cents per kilowatt, and they're locked in at 6.4 and 7.1. So from talking with Sustainable Westchester, they expect their price fixed rate to be increased. That's just a function of the market. But this would be for Con Ed customers. NYSEG is right here. Now, NYSEG, you can see, took a dive. They actually suspended their program. I believe it was in November. They suspended their program, and it's going to be reinstituted in November. March. The reason they suspended their program in November was because they couldn't compete with the rates. So they think that they've got a good enough rate right now. Again, this is a consortium with other municipalities across Westchester. That we're going to be seeing a competitive rate, and the same idea. It just holds down those spikes by having that fixed price. And then in addition to that, there's other benefits, including the fact that if you wanted to just do the renewable rate for just renewable energy, you could make that choice as a consumer.
You can also, sorry to interrupt, but you can also choose to opt out.
You can also opt out, yeah.
So if it may not be for everybody.
Right.
But it is an option that we here at the town board could look into for everyone.
So that's just a tangible piece that we can do on top of advocating, and at least again, people will know that they've got a locked-in price fix for their energy, and then if they want to make the decisions as to whether or not to be just with the standard rate or the renewable rate, they can make that decision on their own. But we're going to have our partners at Sustainable Westchester in next week to discuss this specifically as I think a real option that would prevent these types of spikes from impacting so many people here in our community. And also Heidi touched upon it, and this is the same idea. It's this food insecurity issue that we're dealing with across the community. And Luciana, our Councilwoman Howard, is doing great work with our food security task force. They've got 3 proposals that they're exploring, including wraparound services and additional services to those in need. The need is there. There's just no doubt about that. And it's only getting worse. I think that's what we're seeing, especially as we just saw with these bills, and there's a direct correlation there.
And to piggyback with what Supervisor Slater is saying, it is urgent that we spread the word that it's not only for what we believe is classified as need. It is, these pantries are there to help anyone who is struggling.
Yeah.
And it is our job to advocate for them and to get their voices out. And there is nothing that you will take from another family. So they are here
Right.
for you as well. And I'm finding that in my conversations, I'm coming across others that are like, well, I don't want to take from somebody else who may need it even more. But we're here as
Plenty
a
to go
united
around.
front.
Yeah.
And it's important that we remind everyone that it's there for all of us. All of us. And maybe it's only there for you for that 1 month when things are really hard for that 1 month. But the work that these pantries are doing is just remarkable, and it's there for you too. And it's important that we spread that word. So if anyone hears me tonight, tell 2 of your friends to tell 2 of your friends, because you never even know what's happening between, the walls of someone else's home.
100%. So again, Heidi, thank you for your leadership in that effort, and looking forward to our staff loved it. We had people bringing in boxes of cereal, and our staff really got into it, and they said that they want to do it more often. So we're looking forward. We're looking forward to partnering with you guys more on that. I want to move to the discussion regarding Guiding Eyes for the Blind. We had them in last week about a proposal for 3241 Crampon Road, and so we told them that we would have a discussion this week as a board. We wanted some time to kind of dissect what they said, what their thoughts, what their proposal was. Councilman Diana, I know you and I felt strongly about the work that Guiding Eyes does, but I just wanted to bring it back onto the table as we said that they would do. I do want to let everyone know that I checked just to make sure we're clear, because there was I think some questions on tax revenue. They are a 501c3, but even 501c3s do pay sewer tax. They do pay for their water usage.
Oh, great!
So all those would be taken care of. They wouldn't be exempt from those responsibilities.
For those of you out there, the property that we're talking about is across the street from. It's right next to the mobile station on 202. It's a big empty lot, and I think it has an abandoned house on it.
Abandoned house. It's the old Temple Israel.
And it's across from Lowe's, right? It's that section right there. So I like to visualize things. So
right, and I did reach out to a few retail developers just to gauge interest and see, hey, how come this hasn't moved? They've raised concerns of their own, and so I'm not entirely convinced that it's a viable commercial property based on the feedback that I received. Questions about, obviously, curb cuts and ingress and egress off of 202, which may or may not be granted by DOT. Also, again, as we saw in the presentation last week, it's a 12-acre lot, but you're really only using 7 maybe. Maybe 8, right, John? John Tegeter's here. John, you want to come up? John Tegeter, our Director of Planning.
Hi, John.
Mr. John.
So he said it was 7, maybe 8. Yeah. 7, maybe 8 acres of buildable that's on there. So,
memory serves, it's around there, yeah.
Yeah, so all those things play into the decision-making process of these commercial developers. And
we want to be mindful of the highways that are right there as well.
And the residential neighborhood that's right there as well.
Right behind there, exactly.
Right, yeah. So, anyway, I just wanted to reassure the board that we did have conversations with a couple of the commercial developers to gauge their interest as well. Of course, never say never from their standpoint, but they did raise significant concerns on the topography and the wetlands and the ingress egress off of 202. John, is there anything I'm missing in that assessment?
I think so, no. Those are the high points. Ingress and egress for the Temple Israel was mainly off Mohansic.
Mm-hmm.
They had a requirement to improve Mohansic with a lane, but that has been done now. So that is, DOT doesn't like to give curb cuts on major roads like that easily. So if there's another way to get in and out of it that is safer, they will advocate for that. So. And in terms of the market, you're right. The market is very different, very volatile, changing.
Yep.
You always try to stick with your long-term goals for as long as you can until you realize that they will not come to fruition. So I think we're at a kind of a tipping point for some things.
And John, you and I have been working closely on these types of proposals. I mean, I think you reminded me we only heard one other proposal in the last 24, 26 months?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So and they never came back. So, it's not like I said that we've got people pounding on the door.
But we did, I mean, as a united front, there is that option of if we had a store or something active there, they would be able to pay. There wouldn't be a 501c. So in that course, it would be giving. But I do want to be mindful of the fact that we are developing that area tremendously. And there are neighborhoods, like Yorktown is about its neighborhoods. And I do want to be mindful of that having someone utilize that land, take care of it, so it's not an eyesore, and also it goes to a good cause, seems like it would have a good balance, even though I do know that we were holding out to see about getting it leased up. So I know that we both talked about both sides.
Yeah.
So I do want to mention that. So no one forgot about what it would be if it wasn't a 501c, but the truth is that no one's knocking on our door without.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a prime commercial land. Unfortunately, the commercial base or commercial market is just very, very different right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a prime location for commercial land, but it's not prime commercial land due to the wetlands.
The wetlands, yeah.
Well, of course.
And the
Well, it's not
slope,
usable.
the access.
There's buildable area on there.
Right.
You're right. Significant buildable area.
Right.
But you're right. It's
Compromised.
compromised land, as is whatever's left in town is usually has some compromises.
So I went, and I must say it was a lot more pleasant the time we visited weather-wise.
It was.
But I did go back and walk around the property and look and watch the traffic. And we were discussing that a little bit. And, look, it's just impossible to make a left-hand turn if you're heading west. And coming out, it's and to test it, I tried going to Signs Inc. And it's just downright dangerous. So.
And it's not even it's not even apple picking season. It's not even apple picking season.
That's the point, right? During apple picking season with Wilkins there, I mean,
it's already
that intersection is, that place gets packed.
So
Mike, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So I was going to say a lot of my concern on losing that taxability. I think it might be a very far cry to get it taxable per se.
Right.
So when you look at the scheme of things, even if we add some sewer and water taxes, it will help the health and I also have worked with Guiding Eyes quite a bit through the Lions Club, and they do phenomenal work. So it seems like a good fit.
Councilman Diana?
The last business that was there, and probably most of the people in this room haven't been here as long as I have. I don't know if that's a good or
Most
bad
people
thing.
in this room aren't as old as you are, so they can't.
Wow. Wow.
Don't forget, you guys are actually in
Yeah, I was
person.
gonna
This isn't like Zoom. So
Okay.
you can
Wow.
listen.
Was
Make
Bill
sure
Mack?
I don't get hit.
Was,
All right, 'cause
there's
I'm
no
fat.
gavel here. Don't worry. Was Bill Mack fence? All right, that stood there for many years. Matter of fact, I think part of a fence still remains there someplace, right off of 202. If you look, they had some samples up on the front.
We'll have to preserve that, Tom.
Yes, we absolutely will have to. And maybe gold plated or something, But that was the last and only thing was ever there. And as far as taxability, I think what we have to, I'm all for small business, big business, whatever the case may be. I'm all for putting tax revenue on the backs of others rather than on the backs of our residents. Mm-hmm. But with Guiding Eyes for the Blind, we have to kind of look at them and paint them with a very fine line brush, because what they do, nobody else does.
Right.
Okay, number one. Number two, they're not only great community partners, our community, but they're worldwide community partners, okay, that give sight-impaired people eyes, okay, so to speak, with those four-legged beasts that they walk around with. and I said it at the work session. If you ever get the chance, go to a graduation.
Yep.
Okay, make a point of it. There's not a dry eye in the place. The other thing is, if you ever get a chance to go to a demonstration that they have there, I don't mean the demonstrations like we're having in Canada, but the demonstrations that they have,
That one too.
the demonstrations that they have with the guide dogs, it's amazing to actually watch the people who are not sight impaired putting their faith in this four-legged thing that's going to save their life. My daughter and I did it. It's very unnerving because this dog that you raised now is taking you through intersections where there's cars and trucks and buses and all sorts of stuff, lions and tigers and bears. But, folks, this is just an asset to our community. This isn't, sometimes we have to look past the tax base, and this is one of the times we have to look past it and go for this.
Councilman Esposito?
Yeah, so I mean, I consider that our kind of like new commercial corridor. I'm sure a lot of people do. So I did have some concerns that it wouldn't be on the tax rolls. They have been somewhat mitigated because of what you just said about the sewer, and I also looked at different properties that they do own, and they're nice. They're done tastefully.
Yeah.
I understand the concerns. It is a dangerous road to come in and out of. I mean, that would have to be mitigated. And they are a great community partner, Tom. You're right. And they do really wonderful things. If you want someone that I think I would bet my life that they would be there for a very long period of time, and it wouldn't end up as some empty store or anything like that. I think they're the people that you'd get the longevity out of.
Yep.
And there's plenty of other properties on that corridor that need to be developed and redeveloped and stuff like that. So I'm all for it.
Okay.
I say we move it forward.
Great. John? And Adam? Next steps? You want to communicate to Mr. Steinmetz the board's discussion here? I'm sure he's watching. But maybe you...
Mr. Steinmetz.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Steinmetz. But maybe you guys can communicate to him the board's discussion here, and then we can have them take next steps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, John. Thank you. All right, personnel. We got some resolutions. We're going to reappoint Tom McLaughlin to the Heritage Preservation Commission. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Advertisements. We're going to authorize the town clerk to advertise a public hearing to consider amending Chapter 108 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Alcoholic Beverages.
Yeah.
This is for the park, alcohol in certain parks that we discussed. March 1st would be the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Also, authorize the town clerk to advertise a rebid for 7 various chemicals for the water pollution control plant.
Motion.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to award bids. We're going to award the RFP for the aquatic pesticide treatments to control blue-green algae blooms at Mohegan Lake. I see Ken Belfer here making sure we don't mess this up.
Yep,
Ken,
so moved.
Thanks for your help on this and your leadership. We appreciate it.
I think he's smiling.
We have
He
a
is.
motion.
His eyes are telling us
Second.
yes.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion
Okay, Ken,
carries.
you can leave now. You're good.
Ken, we're going paddleboarding this year. We're going to award a bid. This is fencing for the inclusive playground. I want to thank Jamie Collins, Anna Mendera, Diana Quast, and of course Jim Moderano for their help on this. We're very excited. This will be awarded to King Fence of Yonkers as the lowest bidder, coming in at $9,534.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
This is phase 1, folks. We still have
Phase 1.
This is
Phase
phase
1.
1. We still have the.
We want that playground up, though.
Yep,
Let's get the
playground got to
playground
get
up.
it. It's there. The
It-
playground is delivered. We got to get it
They're
put
here.
up. So we'll move forward from that point and get phase 2 going.
It's exciting.
Very exciting for the kids.
All right, and then we'll take the other resolutions here. We're going to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with the Yorktown Grange to provide facilities for the Parks and Rec Department's full-day and extended-day summer camp programs in the amount of $6,500. We'll just take these together.
Yep.
We're going to authorize the comptroller to pay Kurt Dorr the cash value of unused time as of his date of retirement. Wish him the best.
Oh, buddy.
Authorize the comptroller to pay Anita Hecker the cash value of unused time as of her date of retirement. We're going to authorize...
Wish her the best.
And we do wish her the best.
Anita.
Yes.
Enjoy your
I'm sorry,
retirement.
Anita.
Absolutely.
She's still helping us out at the Parks Department but until she leaves. I'm excited for this. We're going to authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer. This is going to be $75,000 from the capital contingency. That's going to pay for the AV room equipment. Tom Ciangela, give us a big whoop.
Yay!
There you go. This is for upgrades to the audio and visual room equipment so that our town board meetings and planning board meetings, zoning, all the things, Tommy isn't holding the wires with his bare hands.
We're getting new strings and tin cans, folks. All right, let's not get too carried away.
So we have that. We're going to authorize the comptroller to refund a water bill account number 207-929-0 in the amount of $1,352.06. We're going to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement, to sign an engagement letter with O'Connor Davies, our auditor. We're going to authorize a tax certiorari proceedings settlement for 345 Keir Street, parcel known as Section 37.18, Block 2, Lot 84 on the tax map. We're going to authorize a renewal of commercial garbage license for Oak Ridge Hauling, LLC for the year 2022. And I'm going to skip the next one for a second, and we're going to authorize Barton and LaJudas DPC to perform an environmental review for the Yorktown Rehab and Nursing Solar Projects. Separately.
What about the controller?
Oh, excuse me. And also authorize the comptroller to refund the following duplicate tax payments, which are listed in the agenda.
Can you please?
Nope.
Nope.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have Sandrine. Sandrine, come on up. Sandrine Singh is our director of Section 8. And I'm putting her on the spot. See what happens when you show up to town board meetings? We have
Nice
a
to see you,
resolution.
Sandrine.
I want to introduce
Hi, Sandrine.
Sandrine because Sandrine is relatively new. Not too new, but relatively new. And so I wanted to first off introduce her to the residents of Yorktown, since she is our Section 8 director. Now, in Sandrine, we have a resolution to authorize you to proceed with opening your waiting list. Can you just explain to the residents what that means?
Of course. So in order for an applicant to get on the a Section 8 voucher, they do have to apply to the waiting list. The waiting list opens once in a while. The last time it was open was January 2020. We took about 400 applicants. We've almost exhausted that list. We have about 96 left. Now, that doesn't mean every applicant on the list does get a voucher.
Right.
It just means that it's a pre-application, so we have to review everything, make sure they actually qualify. They always think they do when they apply. So some people get off of the list, some people do get a voucher. So this time I'm thinking about taking about 500, so the list can last a little bit longer.
Okay.
But that's basically it.
And can you just briefly describe for the residents who don't know what services Section 8 your department provides?
Okay.
Can you just briefly describe it to them?
So this is a HUD program that does help people pay for a portion of their rent. When they get the voucher, they are supposed to pay 30% of their income towards the rent, and HUD covers the rest of it. There's a limit of the amount of rent that they can look for, but once they have the right amount, we pay whatever is on top of the 30% that they're supposed to pay.
Excellent. And what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
They can either email me, sandrine@yorktownny.org, or they can call me at 914-962-5757.
She did good with the pop quiz, huh?
She did.
You said you were going to put
got
her on. You
this,
put her on the
Sandrine.
spot.
Any questions from the board?
No.
What qualifies as income in that? Is that all types of income? So like Social Security, disability, or is it just actual earned income from a job?
Earned income, anything, even if you have a side gig and you're making some money from that, anything.
Child
counts.
support received?
Anything, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you would do Instacart and get money from that, yes. that
What
counts.
what does it pay for like a 1-bedroom with utilities? What is the voucher? Do you know?
If all
Because it's a fixed
utilities-
cost, right? It's a fixed
Yes, if all utilities are included in the rent, we are at 1721 now.
17 for a 1-bedroom.
Yes.
And probably what, around $2,000 for a 2-bedroom?
Yes, 2071.
Great.
Thank you for all the work.
Just
you do.
curious. I was just
What was
curious.
it for the for the larger unit?
Two bedroom, 2071.
2071.
Yes.
That's what utilities.
Again, that's with all utilities included. Nice I can connect too.
Just a little bit of that.
That's going to have to be raised.
Yeah,
right.
Excellent.
We'll have to talk to HUD about that.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well,
That was
great.
funny.
Well, I just wanted to introduce you and make sure that you residents understood the program that you provide, and we wanted to again appreciate your leadership on this and opening up the waiting list. Thank you.
Thank you. And all the information will be out on the website and in the newspaper, so anybody who wants to apply will know how to.
That's wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sandrine.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Sandrine.
Thank you, Sandrine. So we'll make a motion to authorize the Section 8 program director to proceed with opening its waiting list electronically.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
he was trying to get
Motion carries. Madam Clerk, is there anything else?
Just to adjourn.
All right.
Motion
No
to
other
adjourn.
business, then we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Nay.
You can sit here by yourself. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
Yorktown.
Yorktown.
Good night, Yorktown.